I'm so honored to be here tonight, and the particular honor, of course, is to be being presented this award in the company of Trevor and David and Yvonne. Yvonne, I'm going to wear my Patagonia jacket with even more pride as I go through life. It does strike me as a bit of a paradox, however, to be given an award for doing something that I love to do, but so be it, it's fun. When I think of the arc of my career, I immediately go back to Mad Men, the show that validates how interesting our industry actually is. And an obvious question for anyone who works in marketing and advertising today: how did they find the time for that much sex and that much alcohol? I can't actually figure it out, but now I have figured it out. The answer is, it was all so simple in those days. There was usually a single target audience, women 18 to 49. They bought almost all the products we were advertising. They were almost all housewives or aspiring to be them. They derived their self-worth from the whiteness of their husband's shirts, the quality of the coffee they brewed, and how sparkly the bathtubs were at home. When we talked about segmentation in those days, it was primarily age, with some nod once in a while to differences in geography. I still remember to this day that the taste for coffee as you went from the east part of the East Coast to the West got, you liked stronger coffee east and less strong coffee west, but that was about as far as we went in segmentation. Life was simple. 2 TV commercials a year would do it. The big decisions revolved around, were you going to show more on daytime or more on prime time? A few print ads for the 7 women's magazines. There were fabulous lunches that each of them gave every September to help you decide whether Good Housekeeping or the Ladies' Home Journal or Cosmo was your best choice. Easy. And then you could drink. Today, what we marketers can do is astounding. I used to start presentations by saying, just imagine that you could find a prospect ready to buy, and you could actually engage in a conversation with him or her, usually her, in real time. Everything we did back then was to try to simulate that conversation. And now today, we can target people one at a time, and we can talk to them one at a time. We can describe each one. We know how they behave, what they buy, often what they believe, and where to find them. Today, we have so much data about customers' habits and preferences that we can exquisitely target. We can use the data to create a marketing program that is precisely relevant to a single individual consumer, the proverbial audience of one. We're there. And if we have what they want, they will even self-identify. We don't even really need to find them. This is nirvana to someone who started in this industry in 1971. I've lived through a time where our industry has gone through enormous upheaval and change. But at the same time, so much of what was necessary to be successful 30 years ago still holds true. Despite all that is new, the heart of our business is still, and I believe will always be, all about ideas. It's still about finding an overall compelling positioning for a brand. You've just seen it in Patagonia and Nike. An overall compelling positioning for a brand. It's still about articulating a strong proposition and point of view. So now we have 1,000 ways to use that idea, 1,000 places to put it, 1,000 ways to communicate, but the challenge remains the same: finding the gorgeous idea. Steve Hayden, who is my creative partner for years, likes to say, it doesn't matter how many places you can now put something if there's no core idea in the first place. Technology has brought us enormous capacity and capability. Who ever thought we could get 170 million people to watch a film about the Dove brand, yes it is soap and shampoo, 170 million people without expending $1 for media. It's a miracle, but it happened. But we also face a huge challenge. And here's a question for you. How many of you click on a pop-up ad when you're on the web? How many, you're on your way to something, the ad pops up? Yeah, I thought so. How many of you don't click, how many of you don't click, don't play this ad when a commercial takes over the site you're going to? Well, you're not alone. Here's a staggering fact, in case you thought it was only you. Only 5 out of 10,000 viewers, 5 out of 10,000, click on an online display ad. And yet nearly $30 billion was spent last year on display advertising. Growing numbers of people are spending the majority of their online time on social networking sites. So naturally, businesses see these channels as places to invest marketing dollars. Go where the audiences are. That's instinctive enough. But here's the thing. In a recent survey by Gallup, the majority, 62% actually, of respondents said that social media had zero influence on their purchasing decisions. Now, even discount that we all say, no, we're not influenced by advertising, but still 62% of respondents. And not surprisingly, when asked why they do use social media, 94% of respondents said they use it to connect with friends and family. No kidding. That's what they use it for. I'm reminded a number of years ago, we went out and sort of did some intercept interviews with people about how they use social media, and one sort of very hip-looking 20-year-old guy said to the camera, he said, "Could you tell those people that when we go to Facebook, it's not because we want to have a deep relationship with wishbone salad dressing?" I've never forgotten it, but it's true. Now, having said that, we can't ignore social media. We can't ignore it. We'd be stupid to ignore it. The question is how to use it as advertising. It holds the potential to institutionalize word of mouth, the most powerful advertising in the world, word of mouth. So it holds that potential. How to take that, how to take all that's been given us by technology and the internet and figure out how to make all of that work as advertising, I think is the work of the next decade. Now more than ever, we have to get people to pay attention. They've got lots of choices. We'll have to work ever harder to delight and surprise, to make our communications work and be worth the time we ask people to spend. But that's what we've always had to do. That's our job. That's the business we're in. Make sure our communications cut through, move people, get them to see things differently. All of us here today are living in the most incredible time, in my view, to be in our industry. Things are moving at the speed of light, and we're all at the forefront of that innovation. What a challenge that is, what a privilege. It was easy for me to give a speech last week with the title, "Why I Have the Greatest Job in the World." I do. So do you, Trevor. You and I. We have the greatest jobs in the world. And that's what's kept me in our amazing, ever-changing industry for a lifetime. Thank you for recognizing that lifetime tonight. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for all being here. I thank my partners from Ogilvy. Without them, I would be nothing, and I know that every day. I thank my friends, and most especially my family, who are all here tonight. You've been my greatest cheerleaders all along, and the most important part of my life. Thank you.